It's C58. Today I have an accessory review. Before you I have the G&G replica of the Elcan Specter DR. It's the only one that I can think of its kind that has variable magnification, where it goes from a reflex sight. Right now, when the lever is to the rear, it has a lever where it can change the magnification from 1 power to 4 power. And it does so just like that. You press down on the lever and then move to the rear. It's hefty, I will say that for sure, compared to my EOTech or my Aimpoint T1 replica. It is it's a chunk of metal, but it's solid. This is not plastic. There's not any parts of plastic. Even the backup sights on the top are metal. It has a nice clear glass I can see in it. Nice rear window. The previous models I've seen in the past were smaller. It has levers, replicates the arms through levers as well. I bought this from Pro Airsoft Supply in London, and I had to pay for some shipping, and it certainly wasn't cheap. Now the G&G Elcan Specter DR has a number of features that I'm going to go over real quick. Obviously this color is in the black. I would have preferred the dark earth, but this is the only one that has been released thus far. I'm not sure if they will release one in the dark earth color. It has a large rear glass, which I like a lot actually. The previous versions I've seen in the past, at least the first runs made by other companies, were smaller. It has backup iron sights in the event that if you were on the higher power, such as the 4 power, that in the case that you couldn't engage that or switch the magnification, that you can break your cheek weld and go into a chin weld. You may have seen this before on other types of sights, such as Trigicon's ACOG, which they had a red dot or a doctor on the top that's riding piggyback almost. This one can do that as well. But you can use the iron sights as your backup in that case. It also, like I mentioned before, you can put a small red dot reflex sight on the top as well. It has 2 screws right here, but you need the mount that will go specific for this sight, and it'll screw in and you can put your red dot on that. So in the case that you wanted to use this primarily on 4 power, and in the case that you switch to CQB situation, and you didn't have time, you can use that red dot as well. This has the knob right here, which has 5 illumination settings. I believe the real one has it has circles, 5 circles on the top and the crosshairs on the bottom. I believe on the real one the crosshairs would illuminate red, and on the top of the circuit ones would be a dot. And this in G&G has chosen that the circles will represent a green dot and the crosshairs would represent a red dot. There are 2 set, as you turn it on both sides, there's a transition from green to red, and that transition is an offsetting. So you have one right here and another one right here. It had this little string that's just basically the same string that you would have on a sewing kit. It probably wouldn't do much, but I guess it holds the cap to the unit itself, the optic. On the bottom you have elevation. What I like about this is that when you turn it, it has it clicks a little bit. You can't hear it, but I can feel it. Probably has a little of a ball right there with a spring, and you can feel it click. So you can feel it lock, and you know that if through use, or if you're using a gas blowback rifle, that it won't shake, and then you will lose your point of impact. And that goes for the same thing for the windage right here. you can turn it and you can feel it click as well. So that's a nice feature. And of course, the biggest thing about this scope or sight is the ability to switch from one power magnification to 4 power. So when it's to the rear, it's not labeled. I wish it was, but it isn't. Normally it would say 1x here, and then on this side it would say 4x. So that's just something you have to remember anyway. But to the rear, it's 1 power. So if I want to change it, I would press down like that, feel the click, and then it'll move forward, and then back up. And you hear that click, you know it's locked in. And that's 4 power right there. If you want to go back, press this way, go the other way, and it clicks up, and there's no movement. So you know that your red dot, your sight isn't going to move, which is great. Okay. On the bottom, you have the arms levers, or a replica of arms levers that attaches to any Picatinny rail system that you have out there. Yeah, I wish there was some type of adjustment, maybe like a nut or something that you can turn to tighten or loosen. But these are pretty much, they're non-adjustable, not like a LaRue or any other type of mounts that would enable you to adjust if you have a rail system that is not slightly off mil spec. Okay, so that's the mounting solution right here. The front, here's your front glass right here. There are threads. I've tried to put a couple of anti-reflection devices to the front glass. There are threads and there's 2 levels. There's a big diameter right here which has threads, and a smaller one. So I'm guessing there's 2. You can fit different types of anti-reflection devices.
So I have the G&G Elcan Specter DR mounted on my WE Scar, and for the reason of just to show you guys the eye relief distance. I think that was one of the biggest issues that I had with the first generations of the replicas, is that the eye relief was not very good. So I have it here. I'm going to show you at this distance, the focal length between my eye and the rear glass is when I can see everything in front of me crystal clear, and I have 0 scope shadow. So that's about the distance right there. Change magnification, and that's it right there. If we can go farther back, that's when you have some scope shadow. But right here, it's just fine. So that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate all the comments and the support. I just want to take some time to just, I guess, not to say anything or about anything else, but just to talk on something on a serious note. You know, the stuff that's always going on in the country right now, especially in the United States, those of you watching the news and everything like that. And as probably most of you know by now that watch my videos, I am a believer in Christ. I'm a Christian, and I believe that God is the answer to a lot of these things, these problems that we have in our society. And I was reading my Bible the other day, and I stopped upon Isaiah chapter 6 verse 8. And you know, in the world, we're always looking at somebody else to do something, somebody else to try to help us, things like that. And in that verse it says, you know, God's speaking to Isaiah, and he's saying, you know, who shall I send to go for us? You know, who's going to go and do the work? And Isaiah says, here I am, send me. So I've pretty much taken that attitude and saying, you know what, I can be a positive to the society rather than a detriment. I know it's just airsoft, I know it's just videos, but my goal is to just help the airsoft community in reviews and stuff like that, but also from a slightly spiritual view as well. So again, as always, guys, thanks for watching. God bless you guys.